Howdy, folks. So, not yesterday, the day before, I covered a story called Am I the Jerk for Stealing My Daughter from My Mother? And there's actually a post in here from Job Vegetable 4575 who claims to have intimate knowledge of this situation. So I wanted to read their response and then we can speculate. If you want the real story, read this. You know very well why you lost your daughter. Do I need to remind you when your mother found you baked in the car with your daughter crying in a filthy diaper? Or when you started dating that child predator, and you saw no issue with bringing that man around your daughter? Or the countless times you forgot to pick her up from school because you were so baked out of your mind? You forgot to mention that in your story. And you never ever offered her any money. You only came around when you needed money from her. And that one time she refused to give you money, you broke into the house and stole her mother's watch to pawn it for your sugar candy. You broke into her house so many times that she had her locks changed. And did you mention the fact that you threatened her constantly when you didn't get your money for your sugar candy? But your mom, being the saint that she is, never went to the police, even when she had proof. But what hit the nail on the head was when your daughter came to your mother and said that your boyfriend, who is not the child's father, was coming into her room at night and standing over her bed, just standing for hours. You conveniently forgot to mention that. She saved all the proof throughout the years. The fact that you are trying to make yourself the victim is disgusting. She will see you in court, and trust me, with all the proof she has, you will not get custody. Shame on you. So, this is an interesting one, and I was actually directed to this by RSN, a person who comments often, so see below in that original video to this post. And thank you very much for everyone who were commenting on this and, bringing forth more information. What do I think about this? This, at this point in time, is kind of one person's word against another person's word. But my feeling on this is this might actually be a case of mistaken identity. There are a lot of details here that don't necessarily seem to line up well, and the thing about Reddit is I read a story, and sometimes I'll read a story and be like, I think I read this story before, and I'll look through my archives, and it turns out it's just kind of an identical story. There will be a lot of stories that have very similar elements, very similar themes, and this person, I am guessing, is probably very sincere in what they believe, but I'm not sure that I take or buy that this is the same situation. OP in their original post mentioned that they were actually kicked out and lived with their aunt. This story here doesn't really mention that. It mentions basically that she was living with her mother, but it doesn't mention anything about the aunt. It also, in OP's mentions that she went to college. So there's a lot of bits here that just don't seem to align well with the version of events that OP told. Whether this is omission on OP's part, or if it's, a confused person about this situation, because these were all anonymous. Unless you knew someone's Reddit handle, you wouldn't necessarily know that they were the same person. So, in my opinion, I just think that these are two very similar situations, and not ones that necessarily align perfectly. So let's read some of the other comments here. Sorry, OP, but your comment sounds contradictory AF. Why did OP's aunt take her in and happily let her join Thanksgiving, etc., if she was a negligent mother? OP says that she was kicked out when her daughter was a baby, but you're claiming that she lived with her mother and child for years and bringing in the boyfriend, which doesn't align with OP and an out-of-state college. Also, this has big bait energy. You keep saying that she was bringing in multiple predators and drug addicts into a home and the child's life, which feels like textbook hate on teen mom's playbook. I don't know much about that last comment. I just, read it, but I think that their feelings on this kind of matched mine when I first read over this, that this doesn't seem to align well with the circumstances. Now, Job Vegetables has also replied to this a couple times here, but they don't answer any people's questions. They just basically deflect, and they say things like, well, you can believe whatever events you want, and people are just trying to get information out of them, but they don't seem to actually answer any questions. So sometimes family is family. OP's aunt probably took her in because she didn't want her on the streets, and she could invite to Thanksgiving because the mom didn't want to start a beef and talk badly of her. This family friend had very specific examples. Nobody would go out of their way to present such specific events unless they know. And OP's post is so sus, how can you believe everything in OP's post? And Job Vegetable replies, okay, you are entitled to your own opinion, and I respect that. So that doesn't necessarily seem to flow well for this situation. Again, someone replies, you're deflecting like OP did with their response here. And Job Vegetables replies once more, okay, you're entitled to your own opinion, and I respect that, but it's clear that you're looking for an argument, which I'm not going to entertain. But you have yourself a wonderful day. You can believe whatever you want to believe. And this person replies once more, they just asked questions that you would have answers to, and you told them to believe what they want to believe. Yeah, so this is actually the big problem I have with this particular post here, is that it just doesn't seem like they're answering any of the questions. So we also next from OP have someone made a comment, and OP replied, she didn't put me through college. I got through myself with a little help from my aunt, and I was in a lot of debt for a while. Even during college, I tried working a job and sending her money, as well as presents and clothes for Alyssa, but she always refused and sent them back. So that right there just does not align well with the post that this Job Vegetables said, because this definitely sounds like OP has a different life going on than what Job Vegetables has. And again, this could be lies on either side. We just don't know. So this is a difficult situation. And our final comment here, you're the jerk just because you had a rough start is no reason to do the same to an innocent child. And OP replies, I'm afraid that if I didn't step in now, my daughter would have a rough start too. My problem with my mother got really bad once I was a teenager, and she didn't think she could control me anymore. I want to get my kid away from her before the same thing happens. So, yeah, what do you think, folks? Do you think that this is just that the person who Job Vegetables is confused about this? Do you think that Job Vegetables has some kind of insight into this situation that we don't know? Or do you think it's just a confusion or a similar situation, and that they're, posting because they are mad that they think this other person who they think OP is trying to get their child back? My inclination is that they're confused, that this isn't the same situation, but I guess we won't ever know for sure. So anyhow, take care, and I'll see you all later.